Good evening, everyone. After a long day of Christmas shopping in our local town, it's been, well, I've been on my leg a good while today. I've been on since, well, we didn't sleep very well last night at all, so we were up at 6 o'clock. A lot of it was phantom pain and back pain and everything else. It's really hit me. It really hit me. I'm trying to be a bit upbeat, as you can probably tell from my voice, but it's difficult. So, but I'm still going to try and do a bit in the garage. I really need to try and get this bike done before I go on surgery. I really need to start pushing things on a bit. I don't know how long I'll spend tonight, or it depends on pain again. But hopefully over the weekend, because it's Friday today, of these videos will be posted later, obviously, than the day I've actually filmed it. Now, I'm going to be doing at some point a video of my before and after on my surgery, to give you a bit of an insight of what's been going on with me. I'm trying to be inspirational, but also put it out there of how difficult things can be and what sometimes those amputees have to go through surgery wise and so on and this and the other. Obviously there's other surgeries that I would say personally to myself would be harder than what I'm going to go through, but then some people say not. The biggest problem with me with an amputation, it might be different with other people, is that I still feel my leg all the time. Sometimes I'll wake up in the middle of the night wanting to go to the toilet, and I'll try and almost run to the toilet and end up either flat on my ass or flat on my face, or then just realising just before I fall and end up hitting myself hard in the wheelchair. But anyway, let's get back to what we're doing out here today. I'm not too sure exactly what order I'm going to do things, but I think I'm going to have to get the velocity stacks fitted. I've been putting that off because the caps that go on the top of the frame, as you can see behind me, it's like got three bolts that go in with it as well. One of the seals has gone, so and then they seem to be on back order from Kawasaki. So I've been putting it off, but I'm going to have to put it on because it's getting to a point where there's not much more to do than to get the rest of it back together, really. I've got a couple of other things I can do. I'm going to have to take the rear ABS sensor off my drag bike and fit it to the road bike, because they're on back order as well. So I need one working, and the one I've just recently took off is an extended one which doesn't work very properly. You need to have the gap between the ABS sensor and the ABS wheel, whatever you want to call it, I'm not sure the exact name of it. It has to be between 0.7 and 0.9 of a mil. This is what they're saying in the manual. So if you get the gap wrong for any reason, it should just bolt in on your normal bike and that, but it's been modified and so on and that. It can make a difference, especially even if you change the front discs. I've changed the front discs on this one to Brembo, and sometimes I can find the distance for the ABS sensor can be out of range. So it's a matter of trying to just get it right. You can use washers to space it out if it's too close, but the problem is if you get too close you can catch it and damage it. Because at the end of the day it's like a magnet that picks up, and it picks up shite on it as well sometimes. Anyway, I'm going to do that. I'm going to try and get a bit more of the panels on. I might even try and get the rear panels on permanently. I'm probably going to end up trying to drill the holes and try and keep the bungee brackets on, because as I say, this is going to be my touring bike. The rest of the touring stuff, like the this pannier racks, will probably be fitted after it's all been mapped and dynoed and everything. As I say, I put the butty box rack on there. I may not go any further with it until it's been mapped again, as I was saying. And the debate is whether do I, because all the carbon I've got on it, whether I not do it and put the carbon panels on, but then that means the missus won't be happy because there's no backrest on the what I call the butty box, which is top box in proper terms. Yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to put the wing mirrors on as well, just to secure the top fairing. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. I'm just thinking about that then. So that will keep that lined up properly, to be able to bolt everything else back up properly. And I'm probably going to start putting this on, because I put the coolant in and everything. On this side, I'm going to put the panel on, I think, and pretty much try and wire it over with electronics, because I have got a cigarette socket and USB socket type. Oh, crap, probably the best way to show you what's available. Yeah, there it is. Try to reach for it. Yeah, I've got one of these. As I say, it's got a cigarette socket, 12-volt cigarette socket, and a 5-volt USB. I'm not sure if it's a twin USB, I have to check. Yeah, it's a twin USB. It's ideal for charging phones on the go and any other devices. It is switched, it has got a switch on the top. So I think I'm going to possibly wire that permanently live, partly because when you go camping and stuff like that, and say you've got an airbed to pump up or something like that, or even, you know, anything really, you can use it permanently live without having the ignition on, and then that potentially flatten the battery more, because you put more power to whatever else lights up with it, which I think obviously the lights permanently come on the side lights. It's a thing that they brought to bikes quite I don't know how long ago, I'm not too sure how long ago, but it's definitely a permanent feature now for bikes to have their lights on when you turn the ignition on, which is always something I've always done. I've always ridden with my lights on, try and be more aware. Even when I had my accident, I was on a bright red bike, bright red textile type body armour suit, pretty big lad, well, a very big lad, and the lights permanently on a glorious sunny day, and it still happens. So the more you can make yourself seen, the better. Anyway, let's stop me rabbiting on, and I'll start doing a bit, and I'll show you what I've been doing. Okay, thank you very much. Hi, I'm just going to show you how these I've got these mirrors. They're not actually carbon fibre, but they're a bit of a carbon look-ish thing. Not the best carbon look thing, but I thought I'd get them to try and match the bike sort of thing. Well, that's a bit of a crazy thing, isn't it? Like, camera, and then you can see the camera. Yeah, right, okay, never mind that. But what I want to show you is a mirror extenders. Biggest problem always with pretty much bikes is you end up seeing your shoulders half the time. But I've got these mirror extenders, and they're really good. I've used them before. These are the ones I had when I crashed the bike, where the mirrors were destroyed, but the extenders were pretty much usable. I need a bit of a clean up, but that will be when I polish the bike up. Now, how it works is you have these which extend the bolt. So what you need to do is you screw them on, and you can spanner them up as tight as you can. Right, I'll only put one on for now, and then what happens is that slides on like that. Then you've got the bolt to put your nut on, which goes through your thingy. Very simple, clever idea, but simple. And I just wanted to show you them quickly. So I got them somewhere on eBay, don't know where, because it was a few years ago now. But yeah, they do help, so you don't see your shoulders and you actually see some of the road behind you. Some people say, well, some people say, why do you need mirrors? You don't want to see what's behind you. But on today's roads, and I know from experience, is you need to be able to have eyes everywhere. Now on my H2, which is different again, which hasn't got mirrors on it because I've got the wings on it, I do have a front and rear camera system on it, which is like it's like a dash cam system for the bike, but it also has a display, so I will be able to see what's behind me at all times. And with it being central of the bike, I get a good view of everything. It might be something I might consider putting on this bike as well, because it's one of the bikes I'm looking on keeping. but I want to see how good it is on the other bike first, and well, I'll do a review on that when I do eventually fit it, which might not be in the so near future, depending on how things go on, and obviously test driving it won't be till the summer. But anyway, I'll get these on, and pretty simple to do. And what I would advise though, sometimes when you're trying to take the nut off on the inside, it spins it off from there. I don't particularly want that, so what I'm gonna put, sorry, I'm sure the camera too low, yeah. I want to find out sometimes when you're trying to undo the nut from that, it unscrews it from there, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a little bit of blue medium strength thread lock on it, just to keep them secure. So when I do take the nuts from the inside off, I'm actually taking the nut off rather than trying to unscrew that, because then you're going to have the problem of, like, if that's in the block, let's move this out of the way, if that's in the block, right, and that's tight up against your bike and it's unscrewed it from the other side, there's not much to grab onto it to try and undo the nut if the nut's that tight. So that will be still stuck on the bike, but your mirror will be off, and then you might not be able to get your, if you're trying to do it to get your nose cone off or your top fairing off, whatever you call it, it might be a problem. So that's why I'm going to do that. Anyway, I'll get on with it. Catch you later. Hi everyone again. I've been working hard, it's quite late now. As you can see, I've put this carbon fibre on the exhaust piece. You normally have this particular P panel on when you don't have the centre stand. This is I don't think it's an, I'm not sure if it's an optional extra with the actual Kawasaki part itself. I've also, as you can see, the wing mirrors are on. I've covered them up because I keep knocking into them, but the wing mirrors are pretty much on, or they are on. And as you can see, they've extended them out a bit, but I don't think they look too awful in the process. I've also temporarily, I've bled through the clutch through, but as you can see, I've got a temporarily pipe on there, because the way it's angled, the reservoir, and where the Brembo infeed is for the fluid is a bit tricky. So I've managed to bleed it through, and it's all rock solid as it should be. I can't press it at the moment because it will leak out through the thread of that bolt, but it is ready to go once I've solved what I'm going to be doing there. As I say, that's a Brembo master cylinder for the clutch. Now unfortunately it doesn't have the micro switch for the clutch switch on these, so what I'm going to have to do is bypass that clutch switch, but I do have, with my electronic gear change, I do have safety features on that, with the particular setup on that. How it works is potentially you have to be in neutral to start the bike. If the electronic gear change senses it's in any other gear rather than neutral, it won't start the bike. It can be a bit of a pain if you've stalled it or something, but try not to stall it is all I say, really. So really that clutch switch is probably immaterial considering it's got that feature on there as well. So obviously that's bled through all the way down to the slave cylinder, obviously everything. What I do with these first is, on these particular I'm trying to see myself because I'm trying to sit from a wheelchair to see this. You can see there, just behind the heater control for the glove, for the handlebar heaters, you see like there's a bleed screw at the top, nipple at the top. So what I tend to do is I bleed that first to get any air out of the master cylinder first, then I bleed it down at the slave cylinder. You can normally tell if it's doing something because the actual level of the brake fluid will actually go down. and you just keep persevering with it, it still comes through quite clear, and you get all the bubbles out from down the bottom. Then I go back to the top again and redo the top, because you'll guarantee there's a bit of air comes through the top again. On earlier bikes, when they didn't have this system, it used to be a bit of a pain to bleed it through. What I used to find is I used to bleed it all through as best I can, and then because it always used to feel a bit spongy, I used to hold the brake lever in with the plastic tie overnight and just leave the reservoir cap a little bit loose, and any bubbles that are in the line might have time to get to the top of the system. But now they've made them a lot easier now. The standard Kawasaki ones do have the bleed screw at the top, bleed nipple at the top. So that's what I do, bleed that first, then bleed the bottom, and then go back and bleed the top, and then recheck the bottom again until there's totally no air in the system. And then what I normally do is I'll leave it overnight, and then I'll check it again the following day, see if anything's settled, see if anything's changed, and also after having its first run out, I will check it again after that, because with a bit of movement on the bike, there may well be an odd air bubble that needs to be cleaned out the system. So I've done that, and then I'm trying to be steady with the camera. I would say this is all done off the cuff. There's no rehearsal or anything on these videos. It's all off the cuff. So then I bled the rear brake through, which bled quite easy actually. As I say, the reservoir cap is up there. Needs a little bit of topping up eventually, but I wouldn't say I've ran out of brake fluid, but I've used the can the brake fluid I've got here, the 500ml I've got here. I do have another one, but it's a bit late for me to go rooting for it, so I will check all that again tomorrow and top the levels up. Now, some people on some bikes, it's hard to bleed an ABS system, and what it normally do, sometimes within the ABS pump, which is in there, the back there, it stops you from bleeding it through. But luckily enough, on these ZZR14s, that is not the case. You can bleed it all the way through the system, as I've just done now. So that bled quite easy, quite through. That's quite a firm pedal. You know, you don't want. I personally don't want the rear brake too hard, because I can be a bit trigger happy on the rear brake, and it's because of when I first started riding bikes when I was 17. I was riding motocrosses on fields, and I'd rather use the rear brake than the front brake, but that habit's gone on to the road as well. So that's pretty firm now. On the rears here, you have two bleed nipples on the caliper. You have one on the front, or one on the outside you should say. I bleed this one first. The reason why, it's the closest to where the infeed of the fluid will come in. So if you can get this side of the fluid out first, and you know this side's pretty clear, then I go to the one at the rear, which is just there. They made it quite easy to get to. Just be able to rotate the wheel so you can get a spanner in there. On some bikes, it's pointing directly out that way, so it's a bit of a pain. And then I bleed that through again, and then I go back and recheck the front, and then same again, recheck the back, until there's totally no air coming out of the system. My particular bleed kits, the clear lines I've got are starting to get a bit foggy, so I'm not talking about Carl Foggy, so they need replacing. And then I fitted my front Brembo master cylinder for my front brake. As you can see, that's pretty solid just at that. Won't even go anywhere near the bar. Same again, bled the top out first. You can see that's low there, but I just need to put some more fluid in. Bled the top out there until I got most of the air out of there, and then I went and bled the bottom one on this side first. On the top, there's only one nipple on these calipers at the top there, and then I went to do the other side, because this has like it's like a piggyback system really, isn't it? You've got the main line comes down to this side, and then it has a piggyback line going over to the other side. I've managed to find a shorter line, but it's still not short enough. As you can see, it still sticks out a little bit. I might see if I can get another system that will be slightly longer. I'm not too sure how, because it's all ABS systems. Right, anyway, so bled this side, bled the other side. After bleeding this side, you felt a bit of pressure. It always felt spongy, quite spongy. So I went and bled the other side until virtually all the sponge was gone. Then back to this side, bled it again. And I've left it at that for now, and I'm going to recheck it in the morning when I've got more fluid, because hopefully overnight things will settle again, and that's job's a good one. That's pretty much all I've done. Unfortunately, I was hoping to get more done today or this evening, but bleeding the brakes through and tweaking a few other little bits and bobs, it's took a bit of time. At least they're all bled through now. That's a bit of a weight off my mind, because sometimes they can be a pain to do. So hopefully just a quick check of them tomorrow, and then I really need to start getting the rest of it back together. As you know, this weekend I'm hoping to get as much done as I can, and then get this bike off the ramp, possibly get the H2 on or the drag bike on. I might actually get the drag bike on the ramp then, and that needs a bit of work over winter, ready for next season. But as I say, I'm having an operation on the 10th of December. Quite a serious operation, but it has to be done. Hopefully it will improve me afterwards. If it doesn't, I'll be rather gutted, but you know, well, you should know me, I'll fight, because what I'm doing now didn't stop me before, and it hopefully won't stop me again. But that's pretty much the top and bottom of it tonight. Hope you I wouldn't say enjoyed, but I hope you learned something and enjoyed seeing my mess again. I will at some point tidy this garage, but my time scale short of getting this bike done, so everything's a bit of a rush job and everything's just sort of slung. And then sorry, I'm going down. You notice me going down, and that's because the computer chair I'm on, the hydraulic keeps failing on it. Anyway, and once the bike's done and out of the way, I can probably potter around in here in my wheelchair, slowly tidying stuff together. Hopefully over winter. Hopefully it's not too cold in here to do so. That's it. Well, I'll let you go. I've been gabbing on for too long now, and I'll let you get back to what you're going to be doing, what you're doing on this Friday evening, or whenever you are watching the video. And hopefully I'll see you tune in next time, and hopefully we'll have some panels on the bike, or I might even have a go at refitting the fuel pump, fuel sender and fuel cap to the tank, and all the various gubbins that need to go on that. It has a heat shield on it as well, and a lot of little rubber grommets and bits and bobs, but we'll see. You know me, I'll say I do one thing, unfortunately things change as the day goes on, so I will get off and let you get back to what you're doing. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you'll tune in again, and I say the bike is coming on, considering 13 episodes ago it was just a bare frame. So, and I've done most of this, well, I've done pretty much all of this from my wheelchair, and fingers crossed. I can be a bit clumsy, so I have marked a couple of things as I've gone along. It's unfortunately it's a part of being unstable on one leg and trying to do things without the stability you've got. You can quite easily clip things, drop things, you know, things like that. Anyway, so that's it. I'm just pondering on what I'm going to do tomorrow. Hopefully the wife will let me spend a bit more time in here, with it being a Saturday. She doesn't like going shopping Saturdays because it's too busy out there. Today was too busy out there. I think what they call it is Mad Friday, because it's the last Friday of the month, So people use the November payday for Christmas shopping and stuff. Anyway, I'll get off. I've said that about 6 times now. Right, I'm definitely getting off now. See you later. Thank you for watching. Good night.